Alcatraz Escape. Frank Morris and brothers Clarence and John Anglin pulled off the only successful escape from America's most notorious prison using fake heads and raincoat rafts. For months, the trio chiseled through their cell walls with modified spoons and nail clippers, hiding the holes behind pin-up posters and fake cardboard vents. They crafted realistic dummy heads from soap, toilet paper, and human hair collected from the prison barber shop to fool guards during night counts. On June 11, 1962, they squeezed through the holes, climbed to the roof, and assembled a makeshift raft from 50 stolen raincoats sealed with contact cement. They vanished into the freezing waters of San Francisco Bay at midnight. The FBI searched for 17 years, finding only a paddle and a life vest, but no bodies. Prison officials claimed they drowned, but their bodies were never recovered. In 2015, a History Channel documentary presented evidence that the brothers made it to South America, including a photo allegedly showing them on a Brazilian farm. The case remains officially unsolved, making it the only escape in Alcatraz's 29-year history where the prisoners were never found dead or alive. Pascal Payet became the only person in history to escape prison by helicopter twice, turning French maximum security into his personal taxi service. In 2001, Payet was serving 30 years for murder when 4 masked accomplices hijacked a helicopter at Cannes-Mandelieu Airport, forced the pilot at gunpoint to fly to Luynes prison, and landed directly in the exercise yard. Guards watched helplessly as Payet climbed aboard and vanished in under 5 minutes. He stayed free for 2 years, robbing banks across France before being recaptured. Texas 7 maximum security inmates overpowered 13 prison employees and escaped with a stolen truck, sparking one of the largest manhunts in Texas history. On December 13, 2000, the group attacked correctional officers during maintenance work at the John B. Connolly unit, stealing their uniforms, weapons, and identification cards. They locked the overpowered staff in electrical rooms and drove off in a stolen prison maintenance truck. The escapees robbed a sporting goods store on Christmas Eve, killing police officer Aubrey Hawkins when he responded to a silent alarm. For 6 weeks, they evaded capture across multiple states, becoming featured on America's Most Wanted. The manhunt involved over 1,000 law enforcement officers and cost $5 million. They were finally tracked to a mobile home park in Colorado after someone recognized them from TV. During the arrest, ringleader George Rivas shot himself in the head rather than surrender. The other 6 were captured alive and later sentenced to death, with several executions already carried out. Escape from HM Prison Maze. 38 IRA prisoners pulled off the largest prison breakout in British history by turning Laundry Day into a military operation. On September 25, 1983, Republican inmates at the Maze prison in Northern Ireland had been planning for months, smuggling in 6 handguns piece by piece and coordinating with outside accomplices. During the afternoon shift change, they seized control of H Block 7 by overpowering guards and taking them hostage. Wearing stolen prison officer uniforms, the escapees marched to the prison's main gate in formation, claiming they were transferring inmates. When suspicious guards asked for documentation, the Republicans pulled their weapons and commandeered a food delivery truck. They drove straight through the prison gates, while accomplices on the outside created diversions with hijacked vehicles and bomb threats across Belfast. 20 of the escapees made it to the Republic of Ireland, with some eventually reaching the United States. The breakout was a massive propaganda victory for the IRA and a humiliating security failure for the British government. It led to the resignation of Northern Ireland's Secretary of State and a complete redesign of the prison. Several escapees were never recaptured and went on to become prominent Republican leaders. Billy Hayes, Turkey. An American college student turned his drug-smuggling nightmare into Hollywood gold by escaping from a Turkish hellhole prison that inspired Midnight Express. Hayes was arrested at Istanbul airport in 1970, trying to smuggle 4 pounds of hashish taped to his body. Sentenced initially to 4 years, Turkish authorities extended his sentence to 30 years, just as he was about to be released. Facing decades in the brutal Sagmalsalar prison, where beatings and torture were routine, Hayes spent 5 years planning his escape. escape. On October 2, 1975, he noticed that construction work had left a section of the prison wall unguarded. During the evening count, he slipped away from his work detail, climbed over the 20-foot wall using a rope made from bed sheets, and disappeared into Istanbul's crowded streets. He made his way to the Greek border, swam across the Evros River at night, and reached the American consulate in Athens. His 1977 book, Midnight Express, became a bestseller and was adapted into an Oscar-winning film. Though the movie exaggerated conditions for dramatic effect, Hayes's real escape was even more daring than Hollywood portrayed, requiring him to survive alone in a foreign country while dodging an international manhunt. Alfred Wetzler and Rudolf Verba, Auschwitz. Two Slovak Jews escaped from Hitler's most notorious death camp and exposed the Holocaust to the world with a report that saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Wetzler and Verba had been prisoners at Auschwitz for 2 years, witnessing the systematic murder of over 1 million people in the gas chambers. They realized they had to escape and tell the world what was happening. On April 7, 1944, they hid in a pile of construction lumber soaked in gasoline and tobacco to mask their scent from guard dogs. For 3 days, they remained motionless as guards searched with flashlights just feet away. When the search was called off, they crawled out and began a 12-day journey across 300 miles of Nazi-occupied territory. Speaking German and posing as foreign workers, they reached Slovakia and contacted Jewish leaders. Their 40-page report, known as the Verba-Wetzler report, contained precise details about the camp's layout, daily operations, and the murder of Hungarian Jews. The report reached Allied governments and the Vatican, leading to international pressure that helped save 120,000 Hungarian Jews from deportation. It became crucial evidence at the Nuremberg trials and was the first detailed account of Nazi extermination camps to reach the outside world. Libby prison escape. 109 Union soldiers tunneled their way out of the Confederacy's most notorious prison, using only spoons and pocket knives in the largest escape of the Civil War. Libby Prison in Richmond, Virginia, was a converted tobacco warehouse where captured Union officers faced starvation, disease, and brutal conditions. Led by Colonel Thomas Rose, the prisoners spent months digging a 60-foot tunnel from the basement through rat-infested sewers to a nearby vacant lot. Working only at night to avoid detection, they removed over 2,500 cubic feet of dirt and clay, hiding the evidence throughout the prison. The tunnel was so narrow that men had to crawl on their bellies, and several nearly suffocated in the tight space. On February 9, 1864, the first escapee crawled through and confirmed the tunnel reached beyond the prison walls. Throughout the night, 109 officers squeezed through the tunnel in the largest mass escape in American prison history. 48 made it to Union lines, while 61 were recaptured and returned to face even worse conditions. The escape was such an embarrassment to Confederate authorities that they moved all remaining prisoners to other facilities. The tunnel was later discovered and became a tourist attraction, with thousands of visitors coming to see where Union officers literally dug their way to freedom. Clinton Correctional Facility escape. Richard Matt and David Sweat used power tools and Hollywood movie tactics to break out of New York's version of Alcatraz, sparking a 22-day manhunt that captivated the nation. The maximum security Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora was nicknamed Little Siberia for its remote location and harsh conditions. For months, Matt and Sweat had been bribing prison employee Joyce Mitchell to smuggle in hacksaw blades, drill bits, and other tools hidden in frozen meat. They spent nights cutting through steel walls, pipes, and a steam pipe tunnel system, leaving fake walls and mannequins in their beds during head counts. On June 6, 2015, they squeezed through the holes they'd cut, navigated a maze of underground tunnels, and emerged through a manhole cover on a street outside the prison walls. They left a taunting note saying, "Have a nice day." The escape triggered the largest manhunt in New York history, involving 1,300 law enforcement officers, helicopters, and bloodhounds across the Adirondack wilderness. Mitchell was arrested for helping them and sentenced to 7 years in prison. After 3 weeks on the run, Matt was shot and killed by Border Patrol agents when he refused to surrender. Sweat was captured 2 days later just 2 miles from the Canadian border, ending 22 days of freedom in a search that cost taxpayers $23 million. billion. The Great Escape, Stalag Luft 3. 76 Allied airmen tunneled 336 feet under a Nazi POW camp in the most famous prison break of World War II, inspiring countless books and movies, but ending in tragedy for most escapees. The German Luftwaffe built Stalag Luft 3 specifically to hold captured Allied pilots, believing it was escape-proof with its location 100 miles from the nearest border and sand soil that would collapse any tunnels. But squadron leader Roger Bushell organized Operation 200, planning to get 200 men out simultaneously to cause maximum chaos for German forces. The prisoners dug 3 tunnels simultaneously, codenamed Tom, Dick, and Harry, 30 feet underground to avoid detection equipment. They built an entire underground city with workshops, air pumps, electric lighting, and a railway system to move dirt. On March 24, 1944, 76 men crawled through Tunnel Harry and escaped into the German countryside. The breakout was a disaster. Only 3 made it to freedom, while 73 were recaptured within weeks. Hitler was so enraged, he ordered all recaptured prisoners to be executed, but his officers convinced him to spare most lives. Still, 50 escapees were murdered by the Gestapo in direct violation of the Geneva Convention. The escape tied up thousands of German soldiers and police in the search, achieving its goal of disrupting enemy operations. The story became legendary through the 1963 film The Great Escape, though the movie took significant creative liberties with the actual events. If you liked this video, subscribe for similar ones and turn on notifications to get the latest one.